Hey, pass me a beer.
I love it up here. It says it's a healthy stream. It's always good.
I
always like to hear that.
It's always.
Look, at least promise me you won't drink. Alcohol always leads to trouble.
Hey, who wants to play Drink the Beer?
Right here.
You win.
All right, what do I win?
Another beer.
Just have a cup of coffee.
There it is.
It's always a good thing when they tell you, you got a healthy stream.
Coffee?
Beer.
I'd kill for a beer.
Cheap beer and a sympathetic ear. Step right up.
Thanks for joining us today. The Beerded Hops podcast. And Chad has left us out in the lurch. He has decided that he doesn't want to do this podcast anymore. So he has So Chad has abandoned us, essentially. Chad is on a work trip. He's in Seattle, I think. So having some beer in Seattle. Chad, have a beer for us. I've been following his UnTappd check-ins. But yeah, this is the Beerded Hops podcast, and today we have a guest with us all the way from the mighty metropolis of North Carolina. Where in North Carolina? Charlotte, the mighty metropolis of Charlotte, North Carolina.
The mighty metropolis.
Metropolis.
Yeah.
And this is Adrian. What's up, Adrian?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good. I can't wait to talk to you about the beers of North Carolina.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. To talk about them.
Yeah, because I don't know much about the beers. Last time I was in North Carolina, all I drank was Yingling the whole time I was there because I could never get it here. So.
Yeah, that was a nice thing to come back. So I went to school up in Virginia, so like coming back, I was like, oh yeah, I got Yingling again.
Yes,
it's good stuff.
I want to go to that brewery too. That's the oldest one, so I got to hit that at some point. So for those of you who have never been here before, let me just explain to you what we're about to do. We do have a beer, and Adrian was nice enough to ship me some North Carolina beer. So I do have a beer from North Carolina. We're both going to be drinking the same beer tonight. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's on the label, talk about the beer itself, talk about the brewery. We're going to eventually crack it open, hopefully sooner rather than later, pour it into a glass, sniff it, and talk about it. Then we'll take our first sip, tell everybody what we think about that first initial sip. Then we're going to just talk about some stuff. No big deal. Then we're going to get halfway through. We're going to stop and say, hey, good, bad, ugly, what's with it? Is it still good? Is it still bad? We're going to talk about it some more. Then we're going to talk about some stuff. And then at the end, we're going to empty the glass, be sad because we're out of beer, but be happy we can get another one. And we'll finally rate it on UnTappd. That's how this whole show works. You've seen it before. You've heard it before, so you know what you're doing. Right?
Yeah, totally. I'm a long-time listener. First time caller.
First time caller. Oh, yes. So this is your favorite one, right? You said this is your favorite brouhaha?
My favorite brewery?
Or beer?
I really like Scotch ales. I'm a big fan of Scotch ales.
Yeah.
I don't know if this would quite actually. So my goal was for us to sample this one, it being one that I haven't had yet.
Oh, you haven't had this one?
Well, so that was my goal, and then I bought a 6-pack, like a week ago. And I sent you a couple, and then I was like, well, so I have had it now.
That's awesome.
So, but it's a really good brewery. It's a solid brewery. I've had they have a really good milk stout and a really good black IPA. So,
all right.
So, and this is also a really good beer. Now that I've had it.
Now that I've had. All right. So let's go ahead and tell everybody what we're having.
Yeah. So it's the Wee Heavy Scotch Ale.
You can't even, on the label. You can't even read like.
I know it's the font is really rough.
Trust me, it's right there. For those watching on YouTube, it's right there. It says.
Yeah.
And even I right here can't.
Right. Wee Heavy Scotch style ale.
Scotch style ale.
Really important.
And if you can't.
The brewery is Duck Rabbit Brewery, which all their logos look pretty similar to this. So it's their imp symbol, which is like. It looks like a duck if you look at it one way. It looks like a rabbit if you look at it the other way.
Isn't that one of those psych test things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. Yeah. So that's funny. You cannot even right here. I can't read it when it's right in front of my face. So when you sent the 6-pack and I start pulling out the 6-pack, and I'm like, where's this wee heavy thing I'm supposed to be talking about? So yeah, so maybe some font work there, guys, but otherwise, yeah, it's a cool little label. It's got, what is this? Is 8 ABV, 8%. Nice.
Yeah, 8%. So
Very nice. That's good. That's good. Proudly handmade in small batches in Farmville, North Carolina. Well, that's cool.
yeah, it's I looked up where Farmville is, and now I don't remember. It's like it's like up. I want to say it's like northeast of me, so like kind of towards the coast. Look like a super small town, though.
Very nice. So I did look up some stuff on this. Let's see. Where's my sheet? Yeah. So the brewery, Duck Rabbit. Yeah, that's what it was. I was right. I was like Duck Wolf, Duck Rabbit, Duck Rabbit. The owner founder Paul. He was pursuing a career in teaching and philosophy. We have yet to come across somebody who is in philosophy.
That's pretty unique.
That's pretty unique. And then he started brewing beer as a hobby in '87. He went to work for other breweries. I've heard a couple of guys doing that. He went to work for some other breweries till he had the experience, and finally opened the brewery for himself. That was 2004. They sold their first beer in August of 2004. And this is the Duck Rabbit Scotch Ale. It's a full-body, deep, copper-colored treasure, they say. Bold and malty, this beer's sweetness comes from massive quantity of grain, complemented by some serious kettle caramelization. The flavor is rounded out by a warming alcohol sensation. Well, I like warming alcohol sensations. So,
Yeah, man.
I think we should crack this open. Stop
Let's
talking
do it.
about it. I have my opener. Oh, yeah. Wait, I got to get should probably get the, there you go, the glass can going. Glass cam.
Nice.
If I miss, this goes all over my keyboard. I'm just saying. I'm pouring right over the top of my keyboard. Look at that. Not bad. There's like zero head.
Yeah, I noticed that when I poured one earlier.
There is zero head on that. Like
it's like no head.
I was like wondering, am I not pouring fast enough? What's wrong with me? Where's the head on this thing? It's kind of hard to tell in the camera shot, but I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I'm the
really-
same way. I got like maybe slightly more than you, but
it looks like cola almost.
it does. Yeah, that's true.
Like
It totally does.
The color of cola. Not a whole lot of bubbly action going on, a little bit going up, but what do you smell? What do you put your nose in there? Yeah. Malty.
Yeah, smelling heavy malts.
There's a fruit there, but I cannot put my nose on my nose. That was funny. On what it is, but it smells good though.
Yeah, super malty.
All right. I can't take it. I'm drinking.
Do it.
Yeah, that's a Scotch ale. That's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's not a lot of carbonation. Maybe it's why there's not much head.
Yeah, it's not like, but it doesn't taste like flat either.
No,
Like,
it does.
not
Yeah,
not like a.
but usually you're used to like the carbonation, like I don't know, tickling or dancing on your tongue.
Yeah, totally.
How romantic do you want to be? It's dancing on my tongue. But yeah, I mean it does, but it's like you don't feel
Yeah,
much.
it's not like really strong.
That's good. Yeah, the malt comes out for sure in these. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't remember the best red ale.
malt's super strong. I feel like it tastes little caramelly
Yep,
taste in it.
on the tail.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna pull this up in UnTappd because I didn't do that yet. Now, are you on UnTappd?
I am. I've been really bad at UnTappd recently. Matter of fact, the other day I decided prior to coming on here, I was like, I need to really update my UnTappd. So I did it at work at like 9 a.m.
So then it looks like you're drinking like all these beers and
And then, like badges started popping up. Well, one of my friends on Twitter was like, "Yeah, I see you're starting early, huh?"
It's a rough day.
I was like, sadly, no. I wish that's what was happening.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, I am on UnTappd. I am Beardrian. So beard, like my beard.
And I do have to say, it is appropriate that you're on the Bearded Hops podcast. I mean, you do have the beautiful beard. So
thanks, man. Your beard's great too.
I recently trimmed off like an inch.
Yeah,
it was painful, but
it's always hard.
It is, but it grows back, so it's not like it's that big a deal. I'm trying to see. So this has 5,942 ratings on the UnTappd 366. Wait, no, 7,500. What is that number up there then? I don't know. What is this? Oh, it's the style has 7,500. I don't understand UnTappd. I don't know what you're trying to show me here.
That's total. Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, you've been to this brewery?
I've not been to this brewery.
Not been to this one. All right.
Yeah, I was trying to place where Farmville was.
Farmville. How do you like North Carolina? I mean, how long did you live in the Chicago area?
So I was in the Chicago for 8 years. It's like right at 8 years.
Where were you before that?
Well, it's been kind of a little all over the place. I moved to Chicago directly from Florida.
Okay.
But I went to school in Virginia, and I'm originally from Missouri.
Oh, jeez.
That covers most everything.
Were you born in Missouri?
Yeah.
Where?
Like an hour south of St. Louis.
Oh, I was born in Rolla.
Oh, okay.
Smack in the middle.
Yeah, all my family's in like Columbia. We moved to Columbia when I was like in high school, so Columbia area. But yeah, man. So Midwest most of my life.
Now, when you were up here in Chicago, were you into the beer at that point, or?
Yeah. I think I really got into craft beer in Chicago.
Yeah.
I like had some. Yeah, I don't really feel like I feel like I was just drinking some pretty basic stuff prior to that. So really
What was your favorite brewery in Chicago?
I have to go with Revolution, man.
Man, Jake across the street. Actually, little plug. Tomorrow, the new episode of the sessions, episode 2 is going to go up, and Jake is on that one. And he loves Revolution. We were just talking about that last night. He like every beer that they've got, he would like. So we're hoping to go down there and do a brewery tour. But did you ever do a brewery tour for Revolution down there?
No, I never did.
Yeah, I haven't been on enough brewery tours.
Yeah, I haven't been on a ton. But also, I know one you like as well is Tighthead.
Yeah,
we lived about a half a mile from there. So
yeah, I was just there last week.
Multiple nights.
I was just there. Was it last week? The week before? The wife and I went there for a couple drinks. They had a couple new ones that I hadn't had before, so I wanted to go check them out. The wife was nice enough to go with me. So it's crazy, especially up in this area now. There's just breweries popping up everywhere. Like I was looking, I don't know what app I was on. I may have been on UnTappd and looking at like the map option they have on UnTappd.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that there was a brewery there. Like, okay, cool. So my list keeps growing of breweries I have to visit that I haven't visit yet.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Well, that's cool. Now down there, what do you think? Is it a nicer, a more vibrant craft beer place?
It's
Could you judge yet? How long have you been there? You've been there over a year, right?
Yeah, it's almost 2. It'll be 2 in March.
So what do you think? What do you see in the differences?
It's a really, well, it's mostly just the difference of North Carolina and Charlotte itself, because Charlotte's just, I mean, obviously it's a much smaller city,
right?
But like there are a shit ton of breweries around here, man. They're like I want to say there's like 20 in Charlotte, and which is a city of, I don't know, like 700,000-800,000, something like that. So but the thing is, like, it's just such a small space, like I was looking the other day, and I think within, like, of those 20 breweries, all but like 2 of them are within 10 miles of me. Like I'm pretty much right in the center. So Like there's just breweries everywhere.
Now, how many
Which
of
is-
them have you been to any of them? Or
Yeah, I've hit. I'd say over half. I'd say probably like 12 or so. So
Nice.
it's honestly it's a big thing here. I rarely go to just like a bar. Like we most
Yeah.
like me and friends or like pretty much anyone around here. You end up going to breweries more than anything. More just like they all have tap rooms there's a lot of one really cool thing about Charlotte and North Carolina as a whole is there's a lot of love for the local beers and
That's
local breweries, which is really cool. It almost gets to a point where like sometimes it's almost a little annoying. Like I'm like, I kind of like a beer that wasn't brewed in Charlotte, but it's
How dare
awesome.
you say that? Come on.
No, it's awesome. It's great. No, I just miss I miss my my Midwest Chicago beers some days. But they're really there's a bunch of really great breweries around here, man. So
That's
yeah,
really cool.
it's a really good beer scene.
Now, is the beer scene centralized around Charlotte, or if you get outside of Charlotte, is there still plenty to?
So North Carolina is just kind of a weird thing as a whole. There's a whole bunch of like little cities. Like you get outside of Charlotte and you're just in the boonies of North Carolina like really quickly.
Right.
So like there's so like any of the bigger cities, so like here and Asheville has a huge beer scene. It's a really cool city. And then like the Tri-City area, which is like Raleigh, Durham, Winston-Salem.
Yep.
I just threw my bottle cap for some reason. They all have a bunch of breweries too. So yeah, it's mostly around like the cities and Charlotte's mostly like it's just a bunch of like little cities and then like country.
Yeah, Charlotte's the largest, right? City there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not like I know much about North Carolina, but
It's a cool place. It's definitely different. It's definitely been a change moving from Chicago area, but it's been good. I really liked it.
warmer weather, right? I mean, you don't get
Man.
the brutally stupid cold like we.
Yeah, no, totally. We got snow today.
I heard Atlanta got it. You guys got it.
Yeah,
Everybody
which is
freak out. Which is this guy.
I didn't go in. It hadn't started snowing before I was going into work. It just started snowing, and they were like, "Yeah, you don't have to go in if you don't want to." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to." But we got like,
even though I could drive in it because I'm,
right. But we got like 3 inches, and it's like the city is shut down, man. No one's going anywhere.
It's so funny. Yeah, I saw somebody, a buddy of mine on Facebook. He put a video up, live video, and he was going out showing everybody, look how much snow we got, and I'm just like, we got that yesterday, dude. Like nothing happens.
Right.
It just,
Right.
I mean, those places, they don't have the stuff we have,
Right.
the plows and
Right.
the plows go down our street like 3 a.m. That pisses me off because it makes me.
Yeah.
But
The funny thing is, it's like it's supposed to be 65 on Sunday. So like,
it's crazy.
it doesn't matter.
Right, it's gonna be gone. What's the big deal?
Right.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I long for warmer weather. What is it? 17 right now, and I don't know what it is with wind chill, but today wasn't pretty at all. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. What is it? It's 3 degrees. It's wind chill. Look at that. So
Don't miss that, man.
I don't blame you at all. It is horrible. It is bad. I don't like it at all. Now, one thing we actually just skipped over completely. Actually, I totally jumped. I jumped right to the second half. Whatever. We'll just talk about it.
That's fine.
What are the any of the breweries that you'd highly recommend?
So I mean, I really like this brewery, Duck Rabbit. I've never actually been to that brewery, but I really like one around here. There's one called Unknown, which is super local, but really great brewery. Everything they have there. I was just there this weekend. Had a really good Imperial Stout. It's really good. So that's a really good one. Man, there's a bunch of really good ones around here. That's a really good one. There's a place called Sugar Creek, has a really good they make really good Belgian ales, like Abbey, like doubles and triples and
Ooh, nice.
quads, really good. And then in Asheville, which has a ton of breweries, there's one called Wicked Weed. It's probably my favorite brewery.
I've heard of that one before.
Yeah, they just got bought up by AB InBev.
Wah, wah. That's why I've heard of it. Huh?
It's been a big it's been a big stink around the Charlotte beer scene, but man, they make really good beers.
Well, you know,
They make,
it's like with, you know, what do they call it? Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Goose Island.
Yeah.
There be InBev, but I think, you know, the big guys, they do one of two or three things when they buy a brewery. You know, they come in and they say, hey, we just want all the recipes. You know, we just want all the intellectual property. We'll see you guys later and we'll take it over, right? And they start mass producing it in their place. Or they come in and they say, look, just do your thing. We're going to just, you know, influx of money and our distribution power, which I think is what they did with Goose Island. Because at least as far as I'm aware, Goose Island's not being made anywhere else but Chicago still, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong.
That's the feeling I've got from them taking it over, which I think is, you know, the way to go. One really cool thing about that one is they make some great sours, which I know you guys have talked about it, but sours are really have been kind of sweeping the beer scene down here recently.
Yeah, they're up and coming, and I heard my wife actually works with somebody from Denver, and he had told her that, you know, and he's from Chicago originally, so he's transplanted to Denver, and so he goes back and forth. And he had said that, hold on, first burp. There we go. He had said that he's had sours in the Midwest, Chicago, and the like in Wisconsin. But the sours in Denver, he said, were just blown away. So I know we've said before, like I think sours are going to be the up and coming.
Yeah,
thing,
I totally agree.
You know? And I've had a couple, when I was at Only Child, they had it was really interesting. They had what was it? They had it in bourbon barrels, but the second time. So it had the bourbon barrels had been used for a different beer.
Okay.
They put this beer into the afterwards. So the bourbon wasn't really so pronounced, but in the bourbon barrels they put cucumber.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was like, okay, but then I drank it. I was like, whoa,
yeah,
super tasty. So, but it was also very sour. So yeah, that's really cool. So you're getting into the sour scene.
Yeah, I get really into it over the summer. So there's actually Wicked Weed. They have like it's them, but it's kind of a separate brewery in Asheville called that. They own, but they call it Funkatorium.
Nice.
which is just a great name.
That is an awesome name.
It is only sours, so it's like the sour side of Wicked Weed.
Yeah.
Oh man, we went there once over the summer, and it was just so like they had a bunch of like barrel aged sours and just like really full, rich. It's definitely the best place I've gone to since moving down here for sure.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
I like the name.
Funkatorium.
That's like a band. It's like a band.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. Well, everybody's telling me they can't hear you at all in the live.
Oh, really?
Sorry, guys. I don't know how to fix that. I'm not going to stop right now. So, yeah, no. I don't know what to tell you.
Can't hear me at all.
No, so they can't hear you in the live stream on the old YouTubes. So, I mean, I'm definitely using a new technologies for me tonight. So that's probably my fault, but whatever, as long as it gets recorded, that's all. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Sours, yeah. I need to try more sours. I think I have a sour in my. No, that's not a sour. I did have this company, Three Sheeps. I had their sour at this tasting. And around here, a lot of breweries, we already talked about that, but a lot of beer stores, like craft beer stores, are popping up all over. I went to the one in Libertyville tonight. They had the little release party for Hop Slam.
Oh, nice.
Hop Slam. They had that on tap, and then of course you could buy it. So That place is really cool. Those guys are really really cool, and a lot of them, I don't know what the North Carolina how it is, but a lot of the ones around here now, the craft beer specific stores will have taps, to where you can either get like a little taster, or you can pay for like a full glass of a beer. And even they have them where you can buy a single bottle in the store and then drink it in the store. So they have like lounge areas to sit down and
That's
kind of
cool.
hang out. So you can get that one beer and try it for like $3 before you spend 10 or whatever on a 6-pack.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. That's where my wife and I went tonight, and I got the Hop Slam. We're going to be, I think, reviewing that next week. So
Nice.
that's going to be cool. So yeah, it sounds like North Carolina is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty good beer scene.
Yeah. I've been really happy with the beer scene here for sure. It's been cool. It's been cool getting to know it and checking them all out.
Now, are you more? And I know you said you're kind of getting into the sours, but what's your go-to? Like, are you like an IPA guy, or are you lager, or are you stout? Like, what's the one thing where you're like, if I have that, it's on the menu, I'm probably going to try it.
Yeah. It's weird. My beer tasting, I don't know if you're like this at all, but my beer drinking is very seasonal. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely drink something. Whatever I'm going to drink is dependent on the season. I do find myself tending going more towards, like just kind of more medium, like kind of ales, like this, like a Scotch ale or Belgian or Abbey or something like that.
Now, I don't know for you, but for me, I have found as I've gotten older, like when I used to not like stout, dark beers, I was like, nah, not doing that. But as I've gotten older, they've become to me more palatable. Like I've been able to drink more. And actually, really, it started when I went to Ireland and I drank Guinness like nonstop for a week.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Because the Guinness in Ireland, everybody says it, but it's absolutely true. It's
totally
completely different.
Yeah,
than what we have here. It was funny when I was on the way home. I landed and I was on the way home from the airport. I stopped at the store and got a pack of Guinness. And I came in the door and I cracked it open because I wanted to be like really have it right away. And I threw the rest of the pack away.
It was disappointing, right?
I can't drink this. Like, I was right there. I had it so fresh, and so it's not.
Did you go to the Maine brewery?
I did not. It was a work trip.
Oh, okay, that's right.
I'm probably going to go back this year, and I'm going to take a couple of days, if not more, and I'll be going to Jameson. I'll be going to Guinness. I'll be doing all that stuff. So
I went there a few years ago. That just as a brewery tour, I'm sure it's unlike any other. It's really unique, but it's a really cool place.
The story of Guinness is I read a book about that whole story, and it's really cool. So to be able to go and see it, kind of put it together. And Blubber Sphere is watching us, and he says he can only hear me. So I didn't get a good burp for you. So that's a good. Well, are you halfway through yet? Or are you getting close? Where are you at?
I'd say I'm pretty close to halfway.
Now I am getting more. Now, one thing Chad and I've been talking about a lot lately is how the beers change as they warm, right?
Yeah.
Especially one I know I talked about a couple of times, but the Line and Google's Snowdrift Vanilla Porter.
Yeah.
I got it and I'm like, where's the vanilla? Where's the vanilla? I don't taste any vanilla. Well, the other day I kind of let it sit because I got busy doing stuff, and then I came back and drank it. And I'm like, holy crap, there's a vanilla. So after it kind of warmed up, this one after it warms up, there's more caramely.
Yeah.
It feels almost a little bit oily on the tongue, like it's and it's not as carbonated on the tongue either.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
But it's still good.
Honestly, my taste palate's always like, listening to you guys on the podcast, I'm always like, oh, interesting. Like I had to like taste it, like really think about it. Like, tastes like a really good beer. I like the beer taste.
That's awesome. I think that's the way I normally am. When I listen to other podcasts, there's some other podcasts like The Beerist. If you guys don't listen to them, they're really good. they have like a group of like 4 or 5 people on the podcast all the time, and they will spend forever talking about because each of them will go around, oh, I taste this and I taste this, and that's cool. I get it. But it's just funny because I took my daughter to school. I was on the way home. I'm listening to it, and like the whole drive home, which is about a 10 or 15 minute drive, they're still tasting this beer. By the time I get home, I'm like, okay, fine, yes, let's go. What's next? But the way they describe the beer, I'm along with you. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand what you mean. Like, I don't understand what you mean when you say there's a little bit of this. And I'm like, I don't know what that flavor is. Like, how do I pick that out? And so it's funny because Chad and I are really just kind of learning as we do this show, how to taste beer and how to pick out flavors. We're nowhere near probably what we should be. Probably a real beer professional like listens to us and like, you guys are just go drink Coors Light, you dumbasses. What do you do?
I like it though. I like it is. I mean, kind of. You guys kind of said this, but yeah, it feels a little bit more like just everyday dudes instead of
right. The everyday
people you don't understand.
The everyday beer show. I hope because what was it? There's one today. What did they say? Crap. There was some type of a flavor that I'm like, never heard of that. I can't remember now. It was just funny. They're talking about the quadrants of your tongue, and I'm like, really? We're gonna go that far?
Right.
So I will say I like it. It is. I definitely am starting to feel the alcohol, which kudos. I like that. Yeah. I mean, we always kind of try to think of our ratings as, if I'm going to buy it again, then it's going to be like a 3-ish. If I'm never buying it again, it's definitely going to be lower. So, I mean, and we didn't actually, we didn't actually talk about our rating at the beginning, but I think 3.5 is what I would give it. I'm probably still there, but it's actually not getting worse, which is good. It's once it's warming up, you get some the maltiness still there, kind of fades a little bit, but there's still like a fruity. Like I don't know what kind of fruit it would be though. That's my problem.
Yeah. What is that like? Because it's got kind of a Scotch taste to it. Is that just the malts or the used there?
Yeah, it would be the and it can also happen with the yeast. Depending on the strain of the yeast, can give some different flavors as well. But no, it's really good. What keeps it's just crazy to me. There's like zero. I don't know if I can get it on the camera.
Yeah,
I mean there you see a few bubbles.
But it's like hardly any head.
There's no head at all on that thing, which is just no problem. Like it doesn't get in my mustache, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'd say I'm at about a 3.5 right now too. I'd say that's where I'm feeling it too.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the one thing we skipped is what have you had to drink this week?
Yeah, I had some good beers this week, man. So last night I went to a local brewery, Noda, which I sent you a beer from them.
Oh, nice.
And they just released this chocolate peanut butter porter, which I don't know if you're a fan of the more desserty type beers.
So I've heard a lot lately of like a chocolate peanut butter. I even heard somebody had a peanut butter jelly.
Oh, really?
I've yet to have a peanut butter porter. I should probably look at one because I love peanut butter, number one.
Yeah.
But so what did you think of it? Like, was it?
It was really good, man. Yeah, it was
like
really sweet. This one was actually super. I think I've had another chocolate peanut butter before, but this one was super peanut buttery, really sweet. Just a really good, dessert beer. Just went to the brewery after eating, after having some tacos. So, it was a good beer to kind of finish the night on.
Finish the night.
Yeah.
Kick up your diabetes. That's what I wonder. Like, I want to look at it and be like, okay, what's the sugar on this? Is like, this is worse than me drinking like Red Bull or Monster or something.
Right. Yeah, it was good, man. Trying to think what else. Oh, I had an IPA from Wicked Weed the other day, which was, I think I'd had it before. It was really good.
So now, where are you on IPAs? I will say for me, just real quickly, is that my IPA is just fading. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think everybody has said the IPAs, although the IPAs are still up there, like they're still very popular.
Yeah.
For me, when I have an IPA, it's like, okay, I can drink it, double IPAs or triple IPAs, I'm just like, I don't know if I can do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just over time, or maybe I just had too many where I just killed my tongue.
Yeah.
From the bitter.
So it's funny. I was kind of late to the IPA craze, like because everybody was really into them, and I was just kind of like, they're just really hoppy. I was not that wild about them, and then I got really into them, and then, but yeah, I've really kind of, and I think like the North Carolina scene, like I think a lot of the scene is like you could tell IPAs were the thing just a year or two ago.
Yeah,
and they're just fading, but I still enjoy a good IPA. But yeah, I definitely, it's rare that I have one.
They're so easy to find. I mean,
everybody
makes an IPA. Even when the first or second, one of the first beers that I brewed when I started homebrewing was an APA, an American Pale Ale.
Yeah.
And really the only differences are the grains that were used. So they're easy to make. Everybody's got one, two. I mean, some breweries, that's like their bread and butter is just their IPAs. So
right.
For me this week, let's see.
Yeah, what'd you
have? We already recorded an episode where we rated the Sam 76, and you're going to hear that before this, so I can say this now. I did not like it at all.
Yeah.
Sam Adams came out with a new, I don't know if it's a new style or whatever they want to call it, but it's basically took a lager and an ale, and I don't know if you know much about brewing, but the way you brew those are different.
Okay.
It's basically in the fermentation process. So on the fermentation of a lager has to be set to a very certain temperature, much cooler temperature than like an ale, right? So the brewing process is different for both of those. Well, somehow Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams, found a way. From what I understand, from what I read, is they brewed an ale, they brewed a lager, they fermented them, they stopped the fermentation process, they mixed them together, added some different yeast strain into it, and then fermented it again, and came up with this just shit-tacular beer. Like I mean, I encourage everybody to try it because I keep reading people say that it's really good.
Really?
So we did it on the show, and I think I rated this the lowest any beer's gotten on our show, and I'm like, you know what? I want to try it again. So today I cracked one again because I was like, I want to, give it another shot.
Yeah.
I ended up pouring it. I was like, I took like 2 sips and I just poured it down the drain. So, but I would be interested if you can find Sam Adams 76.
Okay.
Don't waste your money on a 6-pack. Try to get a single
Okay.
can.
Yeah.
But let me know what you think of that one.
I'll check it out.
The other one I had was by the Gang, a Belgian quad called Three Philosophers.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite breweries, man. I love Gang.
Now you're a Game of Thrones fan?
Yeah. Their Game of Thrones beers are just
they're so good.
Good.
My wife is, I mean, I like Game of Thrones.
Uh-huh.
But my wife is a Game of Thrones freak.
Yeah.
And so it's a couple of years ago when she first found these Game of Thrones beers, and I think we went to like 4 different beer stores.
Yeah.
And now whenever she finds them, she grabs them. So I think in my there's like 3, the big old bottles in the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So that was good. This is the first Gang I've had that's not been the Game of Thrones beer.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was pretty good. I give that a 4. And then what did I have? Oh yeah, this was good. So Mobcraft, I think we've talked about that. We talked about that before on the show. Mobcraft is up in Milwaukee, and they're the crowdsourced.
Oh yeah. That's a really cool concept.
It's a really cool concept. I think Chad just had one. It's funny because we've both gone to the liquor store trying to find the same. We always try it as he'll text me pictures. He'll go to the store and I'll get like 7 pictures from him texted of what he got. Now I go try and match it, and we can never find the same mob craft beers. But Jake tried this one with me. It's a Senior Bob, and it is an imperial cream ale brewed with agave syrup, aged in tequila barrels. That was so tasty. That was so
Really?
good. It was so good. I was surprised because, I mean, I like tequila, but
Yeah.
it was very, very tasty beer. I give that a 4.25. So
Wow. That's awesome.
that was a really
I like a good cream ale, so like that's a really interesting. What I don't know. I'm not really sure what the imperial side of that means, but
I should probably look it up and find out, but it seems like everybody's putting imperial just, you know what I mean? Like it's an
Yeah.
imperial IPA, it's an imperial light
Like,
beer. Like what does that mean?
that sounds important.
Right. I must try that imperial. Yeah. I don't really know. I could probably look it up and find out. I had then a Breckenridge Brewery oatmeal stout. I had a
Nice.
couple of those left, and then 2 Harderdale. Bell's Brewery IPA. That one, like I said, I wasn't really big on the IPAs, but that one, I don't know, something different about it. It's nice, and whenever you ever look back through your UnTappd and you're like, holy crap, I drink too much.
Well, I don't check in that often, so no.
Right.
So mine's actually, it makes me feel better about myself. I'm like, I haven't had that many beers.
That's why you're not checking in. You're masking it. No, I don't drink that much. No, I don't drink that much. Yeah, you do. You know you do. Oh, that's too funny. Okay. What else? Oh, we had some news stories. And now I can't find the links. Here we go. So this week, have you ever had a green flash beer? It's I think it's San Diego, California though.
No, I never have.
That's pretty good. They've Green Flash, I think I can't remember which beer it was. It's one of their IPAs just like hit big. And they started showing up everywhere, and they put their distribution was actually across all 50 states, which is, pretty unheard of for a craft beer.
Yeah, seriously.
And so this week they announced that they are actually pulling distribution from 32 states.
Wow.
So they're only going to be in 17, and they're laying off 15%. So this is the second one now we've talked about. We've talked about what is their name? Oh my gosh. Donald, go to our other podcast. You'll hear about it. I can't remember what they're called. But there's another company that also was laying off. And it was funny because I just saw Miller tweeted today about how breweries are taking a hit, but we're going to make a comeback, and some breweries are, but not as bad as you guys are.
Yeah, seriously. That's interesting. So do you think this is just like there's some oversaturation that's affecting?
Well, so I saw an article, and of course I'm going to talk about it, and I don't have a link to it because I cannot remember where it was. But they talked about how there seems to be this line appearing between, the small craft beer guys will do fine. The larger craft beer guys like Stone, of course, Sam Adams. Trying to think of who else would be in that tier. But they'll do fine. But it's the medium guys, the guys that are kind of in the middle. They're not small, but they're not the big boys. Those are the ones right now taking a hit. And it's just because the distribution is so funky at that level. When you're small, you can load up the pickup truck or the van and drive the beer, driving distance. When you're big, you can afford to pay for distribution. But when you're in the middle, you're kind of like, it's too far to drive my own car out there or whatever.
Right.
I don't have enough money to pay a big distributor guy.
Right.
So the article I read kind of went along with that it's just these middle guys that now either they're kind of going to pull back and reevaluate, which is what Green Flash is going to do. They're not going anywhere. They're just kind of pulling back and, plan B or whatever, just kind of regroup, as you may, and so, or they get bought out.
Yeah.
And InBev did already say that, because they had losses, they haven't been doing very good, that they're buying up the rumor is that they're going to buy a whole bunch of craft beers this year.
Really?
Their little, what do they call them? Their little craft beer alliance they have. They're really trying to grow that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just, we do the recent number is 60 or 6,000.
Yeah.
Craft breweries. So, you got to think it's at some point there's going to be a peak.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, so there's this other article. Let's see, where is it?
It's crazy, man, though. Even around here, like I said, like for a small area, it's pretty saturated, but you go to a tap room on, any weekend night, like they're all crazy packed, which I don't know if the tap rooms, really where they make their money. Probably isn't.
Yeah, it depends on how many of those guys are walking out with like growlers or
Yeah, I guess that's true.
6-packs or something like that. But I mean, the tap room is really like, for some of these guys is one of the only ways they get their beer out there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of these guys that really it's just one of the employees that, either already has a pickup truck or a van.
Right.
He's driving, however far away, an hour away and most to deliver stuff, or it's coming to the tap room, so it's some of these guys, the tap room is it, which is cool. Cause the coolest thing for me is like going into a tap room, and being able to just feel like you're sitting in the middle of the brewery. You got all the equipment, you got the, there's one I talked about it with Chad last time. There's one place out in California and I still can't remember the name of it. I don't think it wasn't 21st Amendment. It was another one, but you walk in and you're essentially walking into their warehouse. But the walls are pretty much the stacks of like empty cans on pallets.
That's awesome.
That's kind of mixed up wall. And then you walk in,
there's
this really big bar, but right behind them is just, it's all roped off, but everything's there and there's guys back there brewing, so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's part of the experience. And I think that, I don't know. I think there's going to be a flux. There's going to be a time where you're going to start seeing either these breweries consolidating, coming together, or, closing down or something like that. But I don't think the peak can't sit there forever. It can't just up.
Yeah.
The other article was which U.S. cities have the most micro breweries, which I didn't think we were still calling them micro breweries, but okay, per capita.
Yeah, so I was interested in that because I was just kind of looking, because like I said, like I just look around, I'm like, I feel like Charlotte has a ton of breweries, and looking it up, I'm like, per capita, I guess it's not that many, but like I said, Asheville's
on the list.
Yeah, it's what, third on the list?
Yeah, it is. It is third on the list.
So yeah, and I mean they call it Beer City around here because they just have.
Oh really?
Yeah, they just have so many. Well, and it's not that. I mean, it's not a big town. It's a very tourist, town in the mountains, like just going into the Smokies there. But yeah, it's a really cool place. But yeah, they have a ton of breweries, man.
That's really cool. Yeah, so this is on the screen. Actually, I don't even know how this is even working.
Did I do that?
No, I did it. I'm just wondering.
Okay.
I don't even. Now I'm looking around going, wait a minute, how do I get it back so it's not doing that anymore? I don't even know the stupid program anymore. Well, this could really suck. Good thing it's a podcast. It's just audio.
Right.
There we go. I got it back. Ooh. But yeah, this one has Asheville at number 3.
Yeah.
Microbreweries per 100,000 inhabitants has 21.6. Is that real? Wow.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot to me.
Yeah. There's a ton of breweries in that town, man.
So is this one?
Yes.
First is Portland, Maine.
Portland, Maine. Yeah. Which is surprising.
But is that even a big town?
Yeah, I think that's probably part of it. Is like I think that in the article it said Portland, it's like 67,000 people. So like they have 17 breweries.
17. Yeah. Yeah, which is funny because when you look at it on the right hand side, it has the total number of microbreweries, and like
Right.
Portland, Oregon has 68, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Right.
6 down on the list at 11 per 100,000. Seattle is what 8.1. Grand Rapids is 7.2. So that's
So yeah, that was an interesting thing. As I was just looking for a city with like, what's the city with most breweries, but that's more what I came up with. But that's interesting too.
the Brewing Association has a spot on their website where you can actually go and drop down and pick like a state, and it'll tell you how many are in that state.
Oh, that's cool.
It'll even break it out by how many have opened up in subsequent years. So that was that's pretty interesting to look at too. This other one, it's talking about how craft beer is booming. That's been like a big thing with the turn of the year and all the stuff on the news. I think they're all going back and looking at what happened over the year. So that economic impact of $23.5 billion, that's dollars, for operating breweries in the U.S., totaling over 5,000. That was, I heard 6,000, so I don't know. Now I remember this because they're saying it's clearly at this point it's past the point of being a millennial fad. Because I remember when they're like, "Oh, craft beer, that's just a millennial thing."
Yeah.
We're a drinker, bud.
Yeah.
But I will say, when I go into these breweries, like when I was in Tighthead, those weren't millennials in there.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a bunch of, it's very like blue collar, like people just getting off work kind of thing.
Well, they have come on, they have a prime spot. They're right there by the train station.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like I've always said, if I'm gonna start a brewery, with a tap room, I'm gonna find me a metro station. And I'll,
man.
You get those guys coming off the train, like, just give me a beer and smell.
That's all I need.
That's all I need. It was horrible. But on this article, which of course we'll link in the show notes, you can just see like the curve, from 2006 to where there was 1,400 breweries.
That's crazy.
It's basically from 2006 to 2016. It's been 263%.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But then you do ask yourself, okay, how long?
Right.
How long can this last?
I like the graph right above that gives you all the way back to 1870. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. That's what that did. That is hilarious.
It gives it prohibition. Just drops off right there.
Wait, so 1870, they're saying it had over.
Yeah, that's
over
crazy.
4,000 breweries in eight.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Between 1870 and 1880, there's 4,000. Yeah, then 1920 hits and it's like, bonk. Nothing.
Dude, it's funny how, I know you guys have talked about like just liquor laws and how they affect, but like in North Carolina, it's just like you can't actually buy liquor. You can only buy liquor at the specific store that's like run by the state.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. It's so bizarre, man.
Beer too, or is it just
not beer? Beer you can buy in other places, although it's definitely a lot less like just craft beer stores and stuff around here. But yeah, so it's weird. It's a weird area, man. And so
so your vodkas and like if you want to get whiskey or vodka, you got to go to the state.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. And like you can't buy it before like noon on Sunday, and like
now, I do know some places in like downstate Illinois will have that. We'll have that like, you can't buy it before noon, or you can't buy it at all on Sunday, because that's, as we all know, it's a holier day, and so
right.
So, but I mean, really, all it does is it makes the guys go out on Saturday night,
right,
and buy extra for watching football on Sunday. But it is funny because when I go to other states that have that same type of thing, where you have to go to a specific state-run store. I think Texas has that too, where you have to pick up the vodka or whatever. And it was foreign to me because Illinois,
right.
I can buy whatever at the gas station down the street.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, even like Walgreens around here starting to sell liquor at this point. So, some of those laws, and like I've said before, when I was researching how to open up a brewery, I was just surprised at the rules for opening a brewery, and where it could and couldn't be done. And it kind of made sense that, whenever you go to a brewery, it's in an industrial part of town.
Right.
Yeah. You can't really do it anywhere else. And it's kind of crazy. But that, so what was it, 18 or 1930, looks like 2-ish, came back up, and then they did a ban on homebrewing. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Late 70s, it looks like. The ban on homebrewing was lifted, and then everything started going up after that. So that's, have you ever done homebrewing? Have you done anything?
I have. Yeah, I've done a couple. The mostly with like, first one I did with like a kit, and then I did like one with extracts.
Yep.
I had kind of a bad experience with one, but
what'd you do?
So I decided I was going to brew a Christmas ale. So I went down to like my local like place, and they hooked me up with everything. And then so I was brewing it, and I decided it would be nice to throw in some cranberries.
All right.
Like I thought like, oh, that'll be a nice taste. So like,
That was your first time brewing. You've never done it before?
I think this was like my second batch I brewed. and so I read up on it a little bit, but I was like, I think I figure out what's going on. And like, it just exploded, man.
Like, was it boiling or?
It was just the sugar, like it just like fermented like way quicker than I wasn't paying attention. And my wife called me up on my way home. She's like, "Yeah, your beer exploded," and it was cranberries. So it looked like, it looked like a crime scene. It was just like this huge splatter pattern, like somebody just got shot in the head.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I have two not so good experiences with homebrewing.
Oh yeah.
The one is really tame, but I had one, the bubbler on the top when it was fermenting blew off.
Yeah.
So that was a mess. It was just a sticky
yeah.
mess, and I always let it ferment in the basement. So
yeah,
it was, I'm not saying it was okay, but my wife wasn't mad at me. Had it happen in the wood floors of my office or something. The other time was we were just getting ready to cool the wort after boiling it, and we'd stuck the chiller inside there. When we turn on the cooled water to go through the chiller, one of the screws had kind of come loose, and we're spraying just water everywhere. So I quickly grabbed the hose and just kind of clamped the hose shut to hold the water off while Dan came in and tightened that screw. And then there's a couple minutes or whatever, because he had to go over to the toolbox, get the screw, come over, he tightened it up. And they're like, all right, we're good to go. Let's let it go. And so I let the hose go. But when I did that, this chiller has an inlet and then an outlet hose. Well, that outlet hose, when you let the water go, the water came rushing out, and the outlet hose flipped, and it sprayed boiling water all over my leg.
Oh my God.
And when it hit me, I was like, of course, and I'm like, but then of course the first thing on my mind was like, well, let's get this beer going.
Right.
And I really didn't. I mean, it hurt like hell, but I was like, okay, I started doing it, and then we sat down to eat afterwards, and I'm just like shaking, like the adrenaline, because it ended up being like a very high second-degree burn, and it was.
Oh my God.
We have a nurse down the street, and it was probably a week or two afterwards. She came over and she's like, "What happened to your leg?" I had it all like bandaged up, like a guy would bandage it up. It was bad.
Yeah.
And I showed her, and she's like, "Holy shit, Adam, go to the damn doctor." I'm like, "Oh, well, the nurse tells me I should go to the doctor." So I finally went to the doctor, and they gave me some medicine, and it healed pretty quickly. But that was from this day forward. Everybody's like, "Okay, where's the outlet hose?" Like, don't let that happen again. Yeah, homebrewing is fun. I mean, we just did a red ale that we just opened this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I
need to do more of it.
Once it's one of those things. It is time consuming, but it's so satisfying. Like sitting back and drinking your own Like
Yeah.
you did this, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
because there's so much time that goes into it, not just the like brewing process takes like 4 hours or whatever, but
Yeah.
the waiting.
Yeah.
Like just over here behind me, I have like 2 boxes of
Yeah.
bottles that red ale. I'm gonna let it sit for like 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. But yeah.
It was really funny. I had this guy I used to work with. I worked at a school, and the science teacher, actually, he got into home brewing because he realized when he was like a teenager that he couldn't buy beer, but he could buy a brewing kit to brew beer. So like,
Genius.
so like he brewed his own beer because he was like, yeah, this is the way I can do it. I was like, that's brilliant, man.
That's really smart though. I mean, you won't let me go buy it, so I'll just make it myself. I remember when I first, it's probably like 3 years ago now. Like I had no clue that there's this thing called homebrewing. Like
Yeah.
and I was on YouTube. I don't know what I was looking for, but I think it was like, you're watching a video and they have all the videos on the side. And I kind of saw something about brewing. I watched this video and I'm like, wait a minute. You can make your own beer at home? And then I think for like 2 days straight, it was just nothing but beer videos. And then I talked Dan into, we went in 50-50 on buying all the equipment for it. And
Yeah.
we dropped the money, and that summer, I think we made like 3 beers. And yeah, it's just the hard thing here is the wintertime. It is hard to do.
Right.
Because the thing with brewing beers, everything's got to be clean. Well,
Right.
that's a lot of water when you're freezing in your garage.
Right. Right.
Like, hey, clean that off. Okay, well, hang on, I can't feel my fingers. Like,
Right.
so
You gotta have to have some place you can set it for room temperature or something.
So we this red ale we did. Really, actually, we got lucky on the weekend. It wasn't that cold. But I kind of talked about this in the sessions episode that's coming out tomorrow. But the thing that kind of happened with that is that I normally let it ferment in the basement, and when I did it this time, because it was the wintertime, my basement was colder. And what I'm kind of speculating happened is that the yeast went dormant because it was too cold down there. Because the ABV on this is like 3, if I'm lucky. It's not, and that's just because it didn't get time, to ferment. So, so now if we do it, we're supposed to be probably doing one here in February coming up, and I'll set it up here and let it do it in my office because it tastes good. It's got all the right flavor, but it's like you're drinking no duels because you're never gonna get it. You just have to beer bong the entire like case.
Like starting to feel it.
Right, started to feel it, but I'm so full I can't drink anymore. I've already had like a 12 ounce. Yeah, I know. Are you almost? How are you at? I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm about the same. Good about.
This is a really good. I had my first Scotch ale a few weeks ago on the show. I had one from that brewery that I could never get the name right. Tiriana, I think is what it's called. And it was my first one. I was like, that's really good. I was almost so expecting, because I'd never heard of it and I'd never done any research on it. But like, okay, does this mean it's like aged in Scotch barrels? Like, I don't get it. But
Yeah.
no, that's not what it means. But so this was really good. I think, what did I say, 3 and 3.5 last time? Is what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's where I'm at. I mean, it really didn't change a whole lot through the whole glass while it warmed up and everything.
Yeah.
But it also did not get worse, which is always good because too many beers get worse as you go. I gotta get this.
Yeah, I think I'm at the same. It's definitely a beer I would drink again, but not one I'd like, have to go out and buy another 6-pack right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I say. So I would drink it again, but it's not something where I'm like, hey, I need to go get this.
Yeah.
I can't get it, but
Right.
and if you look at the picture on my UnTappd for this one, you can't even tell what it is because you can't read underneath where it says Duck Rabbit. You cannot read what kind of beer it is in this picture. It's like this is a blank screen.
Yeah, it just could have worked on the font there.
Yeah, darken it up a little bit, guys. Come on. But that was good. Thank you for sending those. I do appreciate it. We got what, 2 more in there that Chad Chad is going to be at my house at the end, at the beginning of February. So I'll give him 2, and we will review those as well. So those will be good.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So one of them's, like I said, like it's kind of the big local brewery, Noda, and the other one's just a really good black IPA from around here. Which I don't know how you feel about black IPAs, but I'm a big fan.
I don't know that I've had one actually. What makes it a black IPA? I mean, color, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of a mix between like it's almost like a stout, like a hoppy stout is kind of what it tastes like.
Okay.
But it's a brewery up in Winston-Salem, and I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite beers. It was kind of funny going shopping, like, because I was like, I want to get these really good beers that really represent North Carolina, But it's just kind of like, I'm just whatever is there is what I, have to pick through those.
Now, have you ever had? Go ahead.
I feel like if you go to breweries, like especially around here, I guess it's the same thing up there. Like there's a lot of like small batches, I feel like is where I get a lot of good beers that they just don't bottle,
Right. Yeah. The thing that's coming also is the limited release stuff.
Yeah.
These breweries making like these small batches of stuff, and then you can only get it if you go to the brewery. But small batch is good. I mean, it's really it's not been screwed with too much, I guess. So
right.
So yeah. Have you had? And we've talked about it a lot because it's one of our favorites, but Casper. Casper beer.
I feel like I have.
It's Chad will kill me that I don't know who makes Casper. But it's a Wisconsin and James Page Brewery is what it's. But Casper is they call it a white stout. And,
okay.
And now there's no such thing as a white stout.
I totally haven't.
Like there's no such thing as it, but it is. When you pour it, it looks like it's just a light beer. I mean, it looks like kind of not quite that pea color, but it is a lighter color. But when you drink it, it's got the flavor, the depth, the complexity of like a stout. And then on the end of it, when you swallow it and sits there for a little bit, it's like a white chocolate. It's just so delicious. So when you come back up in this area, try to find Casper JP's.
Yeah, man. Definitely have to.
It's so tasty. But it's like it made me think of that because you said it was a stout with like a hoppy stout. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where it looks like it's going to be one thing, but it's got a different flavor profile.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. So yeah. Well, I think we've done it. I think we did another episode. So
nice.
Thank you so much for joining me because Chad bailed on us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Chad is supposed to. He is supposed to, maybe, possibly, might. Great. I'm so like definitive. Join next week. Eric is going to be on with me next week, but Chad may join in.
Nice.
But thanks everybody for listening to the Bearded Hops podcast. Of course, as we always say, beardedhops.com is where you can find everything. You can find all the links to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that stuff. You can also find us on the old Facebooks and the Twitters at Bearded Hops. And of course, give us a subscribe if you don't mind. We'd like to see those numbers go up because we make so much money off this. So
keep it rolling in.
Yeah, keep it rolling. My wife is thoroughly impressed with my podcast. You want to spend how much on what? No, but again, Adrian, thanks a lot for sending the beer. That was awesome.
Yeah, man.
And if anybody else wants to send beer, just hit me up, Adam at beardedhops.com. I'll give you the address. And so we look forward to drinking the rest of these North Carolina beers, man. So
yeah, man. Let me know what you think.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody.
All right.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you.